Hello and welcome to this new episode of CIO Leadership Live in the Middle East. Today our guest is Mehmet Athenit. Hello Mehmet, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I hope we're going to have a good conversation.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to have you today with us. Mehmet, you have been Group IT Director since 1997. So we would like to know more about you, your experience. You have been especially focused on the hospitality, but we would like to know how this started. So Mehmet, what was your first job? And did you always wanted to work in technology?
Yes, it was actually started long, long years ago. As you know, I started in 97. The first job I had, it was a computer shop, and I was pretty much doing networks and collecting pieces of the computers. And then in 98, I started joining a hotel company called Princess Hotel in Istanbul.
Mhm.
I worked 1.5 years there. Then I moved to Hilton. I worked 5 years in Hilton. Then I moved to Abu Dhabi, 7.5 years in Rotana, another 7.5 years in Emirates Palace. Then I moved back to Turkey. I worked for FTI Group for about 3 years. And I moved back again Dubai for some time. Now, more or less 25 years in the hospitality business. So my specialty is always a hospitality for IT work.
Actually, I was gonna say you have been in Rotana Hotel, Hilton, Emirates Palace, as we were discussing, focus on hospitality. But what's one of the most memorable stories on this journey?
Well, I worked in a unique place called Emirates Palace in Abu Dhabi. It's the UAE's uh, palace, as well as the it's a hotel. There, we actually hosted. I think during my time, we counted at that time 160 delegations, which means like president, kings, and prime ministers. And they come with a very, very special requirements, and you usually don't see such things in the hotels. And since being a unique place and hosting all of these countries, we used to set up for president of so and so country or king of so and so country. So when they come with a very, very specific requirements, and we set up our IT and their IT teams in the palace like the ones that they have their home country. So I remember one day we set up like 50 internet lines separate, and we put a TV very specific location because the president had a neck problem, so we needed to put it in a very, very interesting angle. And then they bring their own PBX system, so we attach it to our hotel. We converted the the guest rooms to meeting rooms, and we even bring club cars on different floors in order to avoid some long walkings on the floors. And at the same time, those people, they come with the jammers, and at the time that we had the Wi-Fi, it was always like jammed. So they were the ones complaining about the Wi-Fi doesn't work, but their security team, they bring jammers in order to protect their communication. And we had to deal with this such of very interesting and sophisticated problems. So these are my most memorable stories in my past, actually.
No, it is. It is. Wow. Very interesting story. Well, I guess being an IT manager in hospitality is challenging, but especially with COVID and for the last 4 years, it's been even more challenging. So, how has been working in hospitality as an IT manager for the last 4 years?
Well, the transformation took a very big hit. If I go back like 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years ago, we used to be just back office IT guys and fixing Fidelio at that time and Micros and maybe some network issues. Then the last 10 years, we were looking at the guest services, how to improve the in-room entertainments and the guest, how we can make them better service. And they recently we completely move on the digital era. Basically, all the revenue systems and the and the things that we look into that, and the transformation on digital, we actually became a business enabler and even a driver. We drive those decisions at this moment. So staying on the top of the transformation is very much the key, as COVID speeded up all of these. So all the companies and hospitality also had to move on these, and to be honest, after the COVID, expectations from staff and CIOs and the directors that we work in the IT field, the expectations are very, very high. You know, it's not like the one that before. And now also another topic is hitting our table since many years, is the cybersecurity, and ransomwares and social engineering attacks are very much in common. And as a matter of the fact, one of my ex-companies that I was working, and we were also ransomware target. And it took more or less a couple of months to restore all of these systems. So it wasn't an easy one.
Yeah, well, it's more customer centric now, hospitality. I've always heard from many CIOs and IT managers in the hospitality that the journey starts at the moment you do the check-in, even before when you are at home,
even before
doing the
even
check-in
before.
online.
Absolutely. And in fact, you know, we have systems in hotels. Unfortunately, they are not ERP friendly. We have something called PMS, and the PMS usually sits in the middle of all of our systems. And unfortunately, I don't believe this is right. What sits in the middle of everything is the guest and the CRM solutions. And in the hospitality business, there's not much, and maybe one or maximum two, as far as I know, hotel chains are utilizing such approach, and all others are still using a PMS centric solutions. And this is a great challenge in order to have the guest in the middle, in order to have all of these guest journey starts the moment they start searching on a booking on a hotel, when they get online, and then the guests start interacting with the hotels. Absolutely. And the OTAs and everything. So the PMS is pretty much number 3, number 4 steps that comes into the picture. So in order to provide all of these tailor-made services for the guest, you need to have a very strong CRM solution sits in the middle, that the guest communicates directly their needs, requirements, customizations, and there our systems should be very intelligent. And I was going to talk about the AI as well. So those AI-enabled solutions should be able to give tailor-made solutions and the services to guests. So this is the key. This is the digital transformation that I was talking about.
Yeah, we were discussing about how things have changed, but not only with the pandemic, because also now you don't compete against hotels, you compete against Airbnb, so many different options in booking. So what has the hotel experience been like in dealing industry disruptors such as Airbnb, TripAdvisor, etc.?
In my opinion, these are very good competitors, and these have triggered the hotels to compete with the real market, because as much as I like to believe the hospitality is a leader in terms of technology in the market, but sometimes it isn't. And such end user customer based solutions comes into the market, and the hotels have to move and get better in order to compete, such as Airbnb and other OTAs and the TripAdvisor. I mean, these are very, very good tools that the hotels have been triggered to compete with. Like Airbnb is providing a very customized, tailor-made solutions, more spaces, and the local cultural attractions when you deal with the owner of the Airbnb, the host basically, and they give you all of these tips and the nice points at the destinations that you can enjoy the location. And hotels have started to do the same, and they started to give more customized services, and also they also invested in the hotels in terms of technology, like the mobile check-in and the keyless entries and this type of thing. So such disruptors also actually triggers that hotels to be able to compete, such as TripAdvisor. Everyone is looking at TripAdvisor to get good reviews and bad reviews as well. The hotels quality have been improved because of a TripAdvisor, because TripAdvisor is the you can say one-stop shop to check the hotel good reviews or bad reviews. And the more good reviews the hotel should get, basically they should provide better services in the hotel during the stay, pre-stay, during the stay, and sometimes even after the stay. So those disruptors are actually good tools even for hotels to be able to get one step ahead for such services that the guest can avail. So my opinion, they are both very, very important factors in our industry.
Mehmet, how has the CIO's position changed in hospitality? What challenges did you face in your role in the different hotels?
Basically, in my recent past, I've seen a lot of consolidation. You know, the big brands join with another brand, and then consolidation happens. And opening a new hotel in a short time are very, very vital, because now we used to open a hotel like 6 months to 1 year time. These are out of question at this moment, because the business owners, they come and they just want to make the hotels in maybe 1 month or even shorter time sometimes. So those things, we need to be able to be prepared in order to bring in new hotels to our chains. This is very, very vital, that we should be able to avail a system completely digitalized and very straightforward in order to open a new hotel. And one of the thing is with that, basically digital and the guest centrics are very, very important in this, that you cannot lose these touch. But at the same time, you need to be very innovative, and competition is very high outside.
Talking
So,
about, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And when I say all of these centralized solutions are playing a key role in order to bring these hotels opening, because you can't go and put new solutions and new things into the hotel level, ordering it and deploying it. It's a lot of time. So as a CIO, we should be always thinking ahead, and then when there's a new hotel comes, what should be the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the hotel should be up and running. And of course, we need to think about the cost and the quality from those areas also. We should not forget those things.
You were already telling us what you need to know as a CIO in the hospitality, but any advice you would like to give to someone who is starting in the hotel tech industry?
Well, tech guys are usually, it used to be a hardware and administrators, and you might start as a tech guy and climbing on the ladder, and then basically you need to start understanding the business models and the contracts, the guest needs, and all the services that need to be provided. So infrastructure is very, very important nowadays, but it is taken granted. But understanding the business, building relationships with stakeholders, and driving revenue is the key for the new IT guys. And in order to avail all of these, basically, we should be focusing on the revenue, digital, and all of these revenue and digital are actually crossing also in the roads. In the future, my opinion, those will be merged. And those people who are taking interest in these areas, they need to be able to think ahead of today's and tomorrow's basically technology, such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and the software is the key for all of these. So from my opinion, anyone who's starting looking at these type of things, software are very, very important. It's going to play a very vital role, digitalization and artificial intelligence. But if I just to touch base in very high levels, like staying on top of the industry trends are important, developing strong technical skill sets, adaptable and flexible, and focus on the guest service. So these are the business points from my point of view, and also the technical is more about software, and the digitalization is going to be the key point from now, maybe the next couple of years. And artificial intelligence is coming, and any hotel is availing that, any chain is availing that to their technologies, is going to have the competitive edge in the market.
Mehmet, thank you so much for these tips. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us at CIO Leadership Live Middle East. It's been a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day, Andrea.